Hey all, welcome back. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm participating in this collaboration of Show Me Your Workspace hosted by LaVonne at LaVintage Decor. I'm so excited to be sharing this with you. I thought it was going to be a quick and easy video, but it turns out that I really put some effort into this because not only am I showing you my workspace, my creative space, my studio space, I'm showing you basically my whole world. So, without further ado, I wouldn't be able to begin this video without taking you in through the space where I create, which is my home. I use my entire home. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go for a little tour. So, for those of you who don't already know me and what I do here at the Girl-Reinventing channel, I work out of this dark, dingy basement. This is a 1920s bungalow, and this is the only space that I can dedicate to creating the big giant mess, which I do on a regular basis. Doesn't look messy right now, but trust me, it gets pretty messy down here. This is my studio. Welcome. I love to add little touches here and there just to bring me joy in the basement because it is so dark. Little pieces that I've created to hold some of my paints. These are all my milk paints that I have. Books, old dressers to hold all sorts of things. Booklets, crayons, markers, crayons, you name it, it's in there. I could open it, but it's probably disorganized right now. Oh, let me get that out of the way. Just another piece of scrap wood from another project. But I really use this basement to the fullest capacity. I work out of here, and while I'm here, I want to be happy. So these little trinkets and things bring me joy. And here's some of my tools. I've got a table saw, which used to belong to my husband Tom's dad. Oh, that is the cat latrine. Pardon me, you didn't need to see that. But now that you have, you know it's down there. Kitties have to go too. And here is a clever way to stash some longer pieces of lumber. My husband's grandfather's ladder, it's an antique. We have suspended it from the basement ceiling to store all of the long pieces of lumber. So, looking on down the wall here is my stash of just random odds and ends, things that are up to deck, things that are kind of in the works, things that are left over from house projects, just things that still need to be addressed, but I haven't quite gotten to them yet. And this is our new little seating area that we put together for the winter time. My husband had purchased this old stove and he hooked it up down here for us. I'm gonna clip in right here a little snippet. And this is what the fire looks like. It was a little too warm to show you what the fire looked like in the actual video that I shot for this collaboration, but I use it in the winter and it does bring me a lot of warmth and joy in this dark, dingy basement. Moving right along, I also keep in my basement, you might have seen her before, or sometimes she's a he, depends on the day, a relic from my past. This skeleton helped me to study bone structures when I was studying to become a massage therapist. Moving into my staging area, which is also the on-deck space. I use this space twofold. I work on my pieces here, and then I typically will now photo shoot them there. And my new light, which I love, it is a soft studio light. That is the brand. Don't ask me to pronounce that. I have no idea how to. But I installed those up there, those little daylights. There's two 100-watt daylight bulbs, which I have strung up with extension wire and all sorts of nails and you name it. I have retrofit this basement to suit my needs. On deck there is a project that I have pushed to the side so that I can do this little glimpse of my studio for you. I love this little side caddy, which is going to be a future project. It holds my stamps and some stencils and some papers, and these are just staging items that last I used them, then I just popped them there. I've got extra extension cords, and you can see this is where I have strung up a surge protector behind this curtain. This curtain actually, I stenciled that. It's a drop cloth. I sewed the ends together just to give it a little more interest. There is my extension cord that I strung up and fitted to be hidden there. This desk is one piece that I've worked on, and I had it up for sale, but I loved it so much I couldn't sell it. So it is now my little desk down here where I sit with my computer and think about my next projects and where I talk to you guys. You can see my little ring light there, and that's typically where I talk to you guys. And this was my favorite thing. These strung lights down here, it's like party all the time. Brings me so much joy. This wire rack was a new addition. It really helped to declutter and give me a space to store some essential pieces that I use pretty regularly. I got my silicone plastic mold making equipment. Oh, you don't belong there. You belong in here. My DIY paints, my melange paints, my Jolie paints, all of the paints that I love to use, I store in that little caddy there. I love little special touches. Drawers are like a passion of mine. I love finding interesting drawers. I love painting them. I love doing neat things with them. Sometimes they become planters. Sometimes they become organizational structures in my workspace. I've got easy to grip safety equipment. Oh, brain fog. Seeds in beautiful chippy bowls, because I also do a lot of gardening. And of course, I couldn't live without my little Buddha. I don't know if you can see, I don't think I really panned in too close, but I'll show you later the old TV rabbit ears. They're really cool too. I've got a really fancy Parisian lamp. Just, little trinkets, odds and ends. Oh, these tigers are funny. They are paint by number. I found them at Goodwill. I call them my inspiration tigers, and my kids think it's hysterical. So they stay. I've got paints down below, house paints, all kinds of paints, and of course a little grow station. So I do double duty here. I do gardening, I do sewing, I do knitting, I do furniture refinishing. You name it, I do it. I do it in this basement, and this basement functions pretty efficiently for me. I've got a little bin. I've got some vintage wallpaper that I use as decoupaging on drawer bottoms. I've got my little cabinet here that has everything under the sun you can imagine for refinishing pieces, varnishes and sandpapers and citrus strip and salt wash. Two cool, really, two little drawers. My new DeWalt shop vac, which needs to be unboxed. But these are two more drawers that I picked out of the trash, brought home, and I use them to organize my paints, my glues, whatever you can fit in there. But that cabinet, or I should say shelving system, is clutch for me. And here, this table, this is a 12-foot solid something, I don't know, because I've never really dug down to see, but this table came from the Moore College of the Arts in Philadelphia. We have a friend who is a professional artist who sells her artwork. Her name is Alice O. You can go check out her artwork. And then under the table, I've got toolboxes and more tools, tool caddies, handheld toolboxes that used to belong to my grandfather that are really special to me. My chop saw in the gray bin. I've got circular saw and jigsaws and heat guns and you name it. But I think this table is pretty cool. It will eventually be part of my, hopefully, home decor. Pegboard time, and on the pegboard you see all kinds of other apparatuses. My clamps, all sorts of clamps, a little box that houses all sorts of screws, nuts, bolts, staples, you name it. Anything that is a fastener is there, and then some really cool old oil cans that came from my in-laws' house. A neat box to hold all of my hardware for my furniture pieces, like drawer pulls and knobs and things like that, are stored in there. Not the most efficient place for it. I have to find a better system, but I just love that box. I've also got other containers. I try to bring beautiful things in just because I am in the basement. I want to be happy. I want to be joyful. I've got my old Westinghouse airplane fan that I'm so proud of because I completely refurbished it. It did not work. I got it from the Berlin Farmers Market and I took that whole thing apart and refurbished it. Now this is special to me, guys. This is a picture of me and my husband on our honeymoon dancing in Key West. So I get to look up and see that picture and see where I started from, my life as a McHugh, really. Because before that, I was somebody else. Cool table, right? You like that table? I do too. Now off to another dark corner of the basement, another area for storage. This is kind of a messy spot. I've just got an overflow of things. This is another bin where I store tall items. A little Irish proverb, dance as if no one has been seeing you. Sometimes I go over and look at that. I've got a cabinet there underneath the window that holds a toilet paper and paper towels. And then what's behind that curtain? What's behind that curtain? Anybody want to know what's behind that curtain? Well, I'll show you very quickly. That's it. I call that the camp toilet because it's just a toilet in the basement. It's kind of funny, but it really came into handy when, when you have lots of little kids running around in the backyard, you say, go into the basement, guys, go down there and go to the bathroom. Do not run through my house. And I have to say, it comes in handy for me too. Beyond this little area, this is my more on deck stuff, but kind of like in storage for a future on deck project. So, I just kind of stash it back there and it hangs out until I'm ready for it. And then I'll just pan around again. We're back into the main space of the basement. Going through, we are going to now go outside because I would not be able to really show you my full studio without taking you outside. I do a lot of my work outside. I carry pieces of furniture up and down these stairs, sometimes with help, sometimes without help. Either way, I get determined and I do it. And I bring them right out to my backyard for sanding or for painting or spraying. And this is where I bring the furniture pieces that are going to be sold. I stage them out here so when buyers come, they can come right to my backyard. And here is my backyard space. I didn't really clean up too much for this video, but it's okay. It's kind of like a farmyard in my opinion. And we do call this space the Crooked Finger Farm, and that's a story for another day. But anyway, here we are in my backyard, and here are some of my found objects that I just kind of put together. Again, the purpose is to bring me joy so that I can be happy in the place where I'm working. Let's take a little walk. I'll give you a little garden tour since we're already here, and it's such a pretty day. The tulips are blooming. They are so gorgeous. That red color is just so striking. And then we have the oak leaf hydrangea, which is starting to pop open now. And then we have our little seating area where we have lots of fires out here and lots of gatherings, and we sit around and we tell stories and we laugh and we reminisce. These chairs are a prized possession of mine. My husband and my son do not like them because they are all chippy, but that's why I love them. They came out of my in-laws' house when they sold their estate, and I gobbled them up and said, bring them home. I want them. Do not touch them. Although one did get painted. That's another story too. Our new garden, our new raised bed system, which you'll see plants in my basement. I'm constantly on the move, growing and planting and regenerating and changing and reinventing. And here's more pots, more treasures and relics. And yes, that is a big cage. And I will show you who belongs in that cage. She's not in there right now because it was a little too cold, but I will let you meet her. Let's wrap this tour up, shall we? Hey, Lucky, let's go back down and finish up the workshop tour. And I wouldn't be completed in showing you this tour without showing you who hangs out here with me. This is Willie Nelson, the ball python. He's about 20 and he was a rescue. And here is Princess Leia, the Queen of Mean. She is certainly mean. She's a story for another day, how we ended up with her. But here is the basement beer fridge. What workshop would not be complete without a basement beer fridge, and here's ours. And that pretty much wraps it up. I've shown you everything and taken you everywhere and maybe exposed too much. Maybe I could have shown you more, although I don't think so. The house is quite small. But the main thing I wanted to instill in you and leave you with is that you don't need a bunch of fancy tools or fancy workspaces to make something beautiful, and you just utilize what you have. And that's basically what I do. So thanks for joining me, everybody, and don't forget to check out all of the other videos. The playlist will be in the description, and I'll catch you next time.